The operation of the drinking spot or the bar is not the issue. But the possible outcome of its operation is what we should consider here.
What is
like we've read time and again, and we've discussed, the intake of the alcohol is not so much of a problem until we see the ramification it can cause. So now, if you are running a drinking spot, if you are running a bar, that primarily is not a problem. But the possible things that can happen there are the elements that the person should consider. So you can't say it is bad for a Christian to run a drinking spot. But a Christian in such a venture should be inspired in his or her dealings there.
How?
Now, I'm speaking of inspiration in terms of adding conscience to the operation. For instance, if I should be operating a bar and I see a gentleman who comes there who is obsessed or who is possessed by the spirit of drunkenness, if I'm inspired by the Holy Ghost, I should go beyond the money I'm receiving from the person and see the health of the person that is at risk. So if I'm living by my conscience, which is Christ, will tell me that I should not sell to such a person. So it's not necessarily about the operation of the sport, but how. I would say the how is more critical than just the operation in itself. Because if I'm operating one and I'm able to control the people who come, in that nobody takes alcohol and goes beyond borders, then I think the person is still...
But how many people would do that? How many people would say, take your money, I'm not selling to you because you are drinking beyond, the acceptable level?
Now, that is where the problem comes in. It is a very critical thing. If you are a Christian and you are inspired by God, then you cannot discard this vital aspect of the operations in that business. So if you are operating such a business and you don't consider this tangent, then there is something wrong with your love for humanity.
So that would be a lot of work, because assuming that there are 20 people in the bar, and now you have to go and attend to everybody one by one and say, okay, it's enough, go home, it's enough, go home. It's like you'll be policing people. I mean, people are old enough to make their decisions.
Yeah, it's very true, like you said. But then, I believe that if you are inspired, God will enable you. Now, what we are talking about here is not necessarily doing it 100%. But there is a measure to which you can go as far as checking the people who are coming in is concerned. It's not necessarily about policing people. It's not about marking people boot to boot. No, that is not the issue. But then you should be able to be assessing the atmosphere and the people who come around, so that by the assessment, the Spirit of God as well will inspire you to, Christianity in itself is a ministry. The moment you become a Christian, your ministry has begun to ensure that the intention of God is achieved in the person's life. So wherever you find yourself as a child of God, you are looking for an opportunity to make somebody's life better. So if I'm a Christian and I'm operating a drinking spot or a bar, then I should know that even in the midst of where I am working, I am still running the ministry as a Christian. So to the best of my ability, I should be checking if there is one or two things I can discover and put right to the best of my ability. Because this thing we are speaking about cannot be entirely corrected, measured, or controlled. But to the best of your ability as a child of God, try to check that you are not the cause for somebody's woes as a result of you selling alcohol to somebody or somebody patronizing alcohol from your outfit.